Hello there! Thank you for clicking on this video. Today we're going to talk about a ScreenRant article that I recently saw. It is named 10 fan favorite Star Wars villains ranked from lamest to coolest. I went through it very quickly and I was in shock. So I decided to make a video about it because their ranking is just a nonsense in my opinion, and they named the article the 10 fan favorite Star Wars villains, and I don't see anything fan favorite about these villains, or more so about the ranking of the Star Wars villains. So in honor of today's video about Star Wars villains, I'm wearing the t-shirt of the biggest Star Wars villain, namely Disney. I know. How very ironic that I have a Disney t-shirt. So let's start with the article and see what they had to say about the Star Wars villains. So I guess the lamest Star Wars villain they put as the Inquisitors. I kinda agree with that because the Inquisitors were never that intimidating, and what they say about the Inquisitors is kinda correct. The Inquisitors we see are all just a bit easy to defeat to those with a decent amount of power, and are similar to one another with quite a low level of fear factor in them. So I do agree with that. I was never terrified or cared about the Inquisitors, so I agree with that. But this is where everything is just blowing up to pieces and I freak out. They put my dear General Grievous at number 9, as in one of the lamest Star Wars villains, and I don't know where they got this from, but what they say is he is a cyborg with breathing problems. So are we discriminating against people with breathing problems now? Who ultimately does not have that much power and doesn't have the ability to wield the Force. The ability to wield the Force doesn't make you cool or not. While he commands the droid army, he is still under the thumb of Dooku, who is under the thumb of Palpatine. No villain on this list is outright lame. But from what we see and hear from Grievous in the prequels and the Clone Wars, most other villains surpass him. And when I first saw that he's on number 9, I thought to myself, oh, maybe they just mean about the prequels, but they did mention the Clone Wars as well. So I cannot just let this slide because he was a total badass in the Clone Wars. He single-handedly with his army defeated the Night Sisters, who are Force wielders, kinda. And he has captured so many planets and towns and regions and whatever, and for you to put him as number 9 is insane, because number 8, in my opinion, is way lamer or more lame than General Grievous, and he doesn't deserve to surpass him. Number 8 is Moff Gideon, and what they say about Moff Gideon is that, you know, we haven't seen a lot of him, but the cool thing about him is the actor who plays him, Giancarlo Esposito. And I love Giancarlo Esposito in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. But to put Moff Gideon above General Grievous just because of the actor is not a good argument in my opinion. I think Moff Gideon is okay, but I'm not crazy about him, and I don't think he's that cool really. Number 7 is another knife in my chest. They put Count Dooku as number 7, which is again insane. So what they say is Count Dooku from the prequel trilogy would likely fall much lower on this list. But when you throw in the Clone Wars version of the character, he becomes far cooler and it becomes easier to appreciate a lot of his brilliance. You said it yourself. He is brilliant. He is so cool, and he doesn't deserve that place at all. And if we're going to talk about the actors who were playing the characters, it doesn't get cooler than Christopher Lee, Saruman himself. So don't come at me and talk about the actors and then mention to fail that Christopher Lee is playing Count Dooku. Come on. Number 6, more or less I agree, is Ashajj Ventress. So what they say about her? Dooku's apprentice is far cooler in more typical way. Ultimately, Ashajj Ventress' status as one of the best and most cunning characters in the Clone Wars makes her extremely unlucky for missing out on the top 5. And they talk about how fearless she is in her whole story arc. I think Ashajj Ventress had a great character development and a great story arc, and the way she looks, cool. She is very cool. So I agree more or less with number 6. But when you go to the lower numbers, you're going to see why she should be higher, as well as Count Dooku and General Grievous. So number 5 is Emperor Palpatine, believe it or not. Let's see what they say about him. There are two central components of Palpatine's coolness. The first is his lightsaber dismantling of Maul and Savage in the Clone Wars, a moment that earns him the 5th place automatically. The other is his mind, the way Palpatine manipulates everything and everyone to aid his evil goals is jaw-dropping. Look-wise, Palpatine as both Supreme Chancellor and the Emperor lacks some of the badass aesthetic of other villains. How? But he definitely pulls off the evil man in evil robes aesthetic. It's not aesthetic, honey, it's called a way of life, okay? It's ridiculous to say that he lacks some of the badass aesthetic of other villains he made. I mean, how many more characters in other movies you have seen with robes, all black? And who is that thanks to? Palpatine, I bet. So to put him in such a kind of low place and to tell him that he's not cool, especially when number 4 is Kylo Ren. Shame. I'm not the biggest fan of Palpatine, to be honest, but I appreciate his mind, the way he looks, the way he talks. I appreciate his story arc, and I don't understand this ranking at all. And as I already said, on number 4 you have Kylo Ren. Let's first see what they're saying about him, because I have a few things to say on my own. To sequel trilogy detractors, seeing Kylo Ren on any ranking above Sidious is blasphemy. On any ranking above any of the others, please. But the fact of the matter is in terms of coolness, which I guess you forget about. Adam Driver helps put Kylo well over Palpatine. The clothing choices for Kylo, the way he ignites his saber, his scar, his dedication to continuing what his grandfather had started, make him a decidedly intense villain. Throwing moments like walking through waves of calf beer, killing snow, destroying the village of Mustafar, and more, you have an undeniably cool villain, and perhaps the sequel's trilogy best character. Look, in my opinion, Kylo Ren is a whiny, spoiled brat. He has some, for whatever reason, anger issues. He wants to continue what Darth Vader started, even though Darth Vader himself is not Darth Vader anymore. So no, this has no merit in my eyes. I'm so sorry. I'm actually not sorry. If you're going to mention the way he walks and the way he destroyed a village, all of these characters did that. So I just don't agree with this ranking at all. So let's go to number 3. Number 3 is Grand Admiral Tron, and I more or less agree with that. Well, I wouldn't put him at number 3, but I would put him at probably 6 or 5. Because I agree that Tron is immense. His calm demeanor, his tactical genius, his love of art, his skill in combat, the respect he commands from everyone around him. Literally everything about him, from the way he walks to the way he talks, oozes a certain kind of charisma that other characters can only dream of. I mean, yeah, okay. But yes, he is a very smart, intelligent man. He's very calm, and that is the thing that is terrifying about him and makes him cool. But for now, I'll probably put him 7 or 6 or even 8. I'm sorry, Tron. So let's talk about the first two, are Maul and Darth Vader. Number 2 is Maul and number 1 is obviously Darth Vader. And I appreciate that because Mo is such a great character. So let's see what they're saying about Mo. Mo cultivated a character and story in Star Wars better than most. And that is true. His story, the way he cries about the fact that Palpatine left him and he makes himself to be the victim and it makes you sympathize with him. I think that this is genius. I think what they did with Maul in Clone Wars and Rebels was just probably one of the best stories of Star Wars. I think his whole arc is another tragedy, just as Darth Vader. I don't know if it's worse than Darth Vader, but I do think it's up there. And I mean, Maul with his lightsaber and the way he looks with the spikes out of his head, you cannot get any cooler than that. And also the voice actor for Maul, Sam Witwer, I think it was, genius. I mean, if you haven't seen him scream Kenobi, go Google that and look it up. It's terrifying and I love it. And obviously at number one you have Darth Vader. He is the most iconic villain of them all, as they do admit here. And I appreciate the fact that they're admitting that Darth Vader is the most iconic of them all, because he is indeed. So that was the article. I disagree with it, with most of the parts, but I do appreciate that they put Darth Vader and Darth Maul in the first two spots because they absolutely deserve it. But to put Kylo Ren and Moff Gideon over Grievous and Count Dooku and Ashajj even, doesn't make any sense to me. Let me know down below who is your favorite villain and if you agree or disagree with this list. Maybe in one of the next videos I'll make a list of my own, because I think it will probably look way different than this one. I don't even know if I like Maul or Vader better. So thank you guys for watching, see you in the next video, and may the force be with you.